Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going to take some of the biggest self-help ideas out there, like the law of attraction, and we're going to flip them on their head. We're looking at them through a radical, and I mean truly radical, new model. We're shifting from a world of personal desire to a physics of purpose. So, let's get right into it.
So, many of us have heard this, right? It's the big idea from The Secret. It's this incredibly powerful belief that our minds, our thoughts, our feelings can literally shape the world around us. That if you just focus on what you want with absolute certainty, the universe itself will bend and twist to make it happen. And honestly, it's a very compelling, very empowering idea.
And this is the question that changes everything. It's the whole point of our explainer today. A new framework called Absolute Divine Governance, or ADG for short, comes along and challenges this whole idea. It basically says, hey, what if we've made a huge error in how we see reality? And it proposes a completely different operating system for how it all works. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start by looking at two totally different ways of seeing the universe. Then, we'll dive into how attraction gets transformed into something called alignment. We'll see how that changes practices like meditation and visualization. Then, we get to the really wild stuff, the reality rendering engine. And finally, we'll pull it all together to see what this new physics of purpose really looks like.
Okay, first things first. Are we the center of everything? Or is there something bigger going on? This is where these two worldviews really clash.
So on one hand, you've got what this framework calls rational thinking. This is pretty much the default view for most of us, right? The world is solid, it's material, and our goal is to get better at manipulating it to get what we want. But on the other hand, the ADG model says, nope, the universe isn't solid at all. It's a rendered apparition. Think of it less like a physical stage and more like a personalized, hyper-realistic VR simulation. And it's not designed for your entertainment, it's designed for your development.
Okay, so if reality is some kind of developmental simulation, what does that do to the law of attraction? Well, according to this framework, it means we've been fundamentally misunderstanding how the whole system works.
And this brings us to what it calls the self-centric error. The idea here is that the belief that our personal thoughts create reality is the biggest mistake we're making. It puts our wants, our desires at the very center of the universe, when really the system is designed for something completely different, our growth.
So if it's not self-centric, what is it? The framework calls it a NAF-centric universe. Now, NAFs is probably a new term for you, and we're going to break it down on the next slide, don't worry. But for now, think of it as your core consciousness. This model says the world is like a custom-built incubator rendered just for your consciousness, and it's designed to give you the exact experiences you need to evolve.
Okay, so let's define NAFs. In this model, it's the deepest part of you. It's not your body, it's not your personality, it's not even your passing thoughts. It is the essential core of your awareness, that silent observer for whom this entire reality simulation is being run. The framework gets technical and calls it a cognitive vector, but you can just think of it as your truest self. This slide just nails the shift in thinking. The old idea, attraction, basically treats the universe like a cosmic vending machine, right? You put in the right thoughts and you get out the prize you want. But this new idea, alignment, sees the universe as a perfect mirror. It doesn't give you what you want, it reflects back to you who you are. Your reality only changes when your internal state of development changes. So how do you align yourself? Well, the framework uses a very specific term here, Islam, and it defines it not as a religion, but as an action, the act of ceding authority. It means letting go of the ego's constant need to control everything. It's about trusting that there's a developmental process at play, and when you do that, the model says you reduce your internal chaos, what it calls bias noise. It's like quieting down all the static in your mind so you can finally hear the real signal. So, if the big goal is to reduce that internal bias noise and cede authority, how do we actually do that? This is where the framework takes popular tools like meditation and visualization and basically re-engineers them into something brand new.
Most of us think of meditation as a tool to just relax and de-stress. But in this model, it becomes something called structured focus. And the goal isn't just to feel calm, it's to perform scheduled system maintenance on your mind. Think about it like running a defrag program on your computer's hard drive. It's a disciplined process to clear out all that junk, that bias noise, and optimize your entire cognitive system. Visualization also gets a serious upgrade. It's transformed from daydreaming into this rigorous protocol called the pressing. I love the metaphor they use. Imagine a pomegranate. The
The physical world, the event, the object, that's the peel and the pulp. It's there, but it's not the point. The point is to press it to extract a juice, the operational truth, the lesson. So you identify something, figure out its real purpose in your development, and then distill the core lesson.
So let's take a classic example. The popular goal for visualization is to manifest your dream house. You picture the kitchen, the beautiful yard, you try to feel the emotion of living there. Now look at the governance goal. Here, you don't visualize the house for your sake, you visualize it for its purpose. Instead of a dream home, you see it as a functional tool in a larger system, a base of operations for a mission you're supposed to carry out. The focus completely shifts from what can I get to what am I supposed to do? It's all about function, not just feeling good.
All right, this is where it gets really mind-bending. This brings us to the core mechanism. How does this responsive reality actually work? This is where the model introduces its own symbolic physics. And here is the big claim. What we call manifestation is not us creating something out of nothing. Instead, it's the output of a cognitive rendering engine. Our entire experience of reality is being rendered for us, moment by moment, based on our internal state.
Okay, now don't let the symbolic equation on the screen throw you off. Let's just ignore the math for a second and focus on the core idea, which is actually pretty straightforward. Think of it like this. Your reality is what happens when your internal filter meets the truth. Imagine the truth is this massive field of all possibilities. Your inner state, your nefs, acts like a filter. It doesn't create reality, but it selects which possibility from that huge field gets rendered as your personal experience. So you're not the writer of the movie, but you are the lens through which it's being filmed.
And this analogy just makes it so clear. Two people can be in the exact same situation and experience two totally different worlds. Someone with a Pharaoh filter, a state full of ego, noise, and fear, will render a reality that feels scarce, threatening, and paranoid. But someone with a prophet filter, a state of alignment and clarity, will render a world that feels abundant, purposeful, and full of meaningful signs. Your inner state literally determines your outer world.
So, let's bring all of this home. What's the ultimate point of this massive shift in thinking? Well, it's a complete redefinition of what our purpose is. This summary table lays it all out beautifully. The law of attraction becomes alignment, meditation becomes structured focus to reduce that internal noise, visualization becomes a rigorous process of extracting truth, and manifestation is understood as the output of a governed rendering engine, where the ultimate goal is cognitive growth and network development.
And this quote just nails it. The old way of thinking, rational thinking, is all about optimizing for things we can measure externally. Profit, clicks, efficiency, you name it. But this new governance paradigm, it's a technology of the self, one that's designed to optimize for what we should become, our cognitive and moral evolution.
So we end with this question. Is the world a blank canvas that we get to paint with our own wants and desires? Or is it a perfectly responsive mirror reflecting back to us exactly what we need to see for our own growth? According to this framework, the answer to that question could change absolutely everything. Thanks for watching.